as human, we have a wide bandwidth of capacity for emotional experiences. We just haven't explored all of the higher end.
Damn, this sounds like real power, and definitely a solution for those who are looking for control, because that's control. Like that don't dictate what's going on in here.
I am not limited by what someone else thinks. They are.
All right. Keep your thought.
You're limited by that thought. Not me. That's not my thought. Yeah. My thought is joyful. You can have some of it.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authorities. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another.
Welcome to Call for the Truth. I am LaOta of the Sun, and this is Tarvars of the Sun. And today our topic is about control. Those who we control, those who want to control us, those who do control us, the different levels of control in our lives. But before we begin, Tarvars, will you come forward with the call for the truth?
Well, certainly. And we encourage those who are tuning in, join us in this call for truth before we move into this discussion. Shall we call for the frequency of truth to come forth? Shall we call to see the truth in all that we see? Shall we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? Shall we call to speak the truth? Calling forth the courage to speak the truth. Shall we have nothing less than the truth to come forth into our experience? So now that we have primed ourselves with truth, control.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
Yes, it
Family, friends, relationships, work, society, government.
Absolutely.
All four beings.
Especially.
It's everywhere.
Especially. It's in every facet of our experience, and we are clearly being cultivated to be like those who have controlled us. When we think about it, you know, we're seeing it just today. I was seeing in the entertainment business how there's gatekeepers controlling behavior and offering elevation in terms of income and status for levels of control and abuse in various levels. I'm sure you're all aware of it. And at the same time, we have just recently come through an experience that's maybe attempted to be repeated, where the World Health Forum or the World Health officials want to control us into what they think. And then we're seeing that the same thing happens in the corporations. We see the same thing in government. We see the same thing in our parent and child relationships and in our intimate person-to-person relationships as well. And now we have controlled the planet to the point where it's an unsustainable situation. But all of those situations are unsustainable.
True that. Yeah, I think many people understand that you can't control what's outside of you. I think a lot of people have either heard that,
yes,
and in their process come to that realization, but yet we still try. What's up with that? What is it with us as humans where we will just try to control the thing or the person that's outside of us?
It's interesting because we don't see that in nature. We don't see that in the birds. We don't see that with the trees.
Imagine that.
We don't see that in what Source has created. We only see this amongst, as a human idea of wanting to extend what is inside of us to what is exterior to us, whether it wants it or not. You know, like I want to make everybody's lawn look a certain way because I feel like that's the best way for lawns to look.
And don't put your house or put anything on your lawn, or else I'm gonna knock on your door.
So,
anybody ever deal with HOA?
So this level of control, like, you know, you have to, in school, you have to memorize things. You have to remember things that are relevant or irrelevant based on what someone else has decided, not necessarily in your best and highest interest. Same thing in our churches, and same thing in the level of this religious training, but it extends to everything. So when you say, why are people doing it? It's all they've ever seen.
So we know nothing else other than control. So on that note, since you said that, I can see where this illusion of power, because it's not really power, because the control is fueled by the fear, and that's all that we see. That's the only example we have, and it appears to be successful. People who control appear to get what they want, but what's the cost of it?
It's so interesting that you say that, because now you've gone behind the veil. So what's behind the control is the fear that you won't have what you want. So it's at the macro level or at the micro level. If the government doesn't think that you will do what they want you to do, then they may control you. Or even in countries that have been colonized, they colonize at gunpoint.
Yes, some form
They don't
of
colonize
fear.
because you all agree that you can come to my country and, yes, you may come to my country and rule me. They colonize at gunpoint. And so this is what we have seen in our history. And this is how our religions began. This is how many of the structures and experiences that happen. We know, for instance, we all know in our lexicon that if you invent something and it gets rid of oil, or it gets rid of the current sources of mega income for major corporations, you might as well have committed suicide. This is something we already, everyone, it's in the lexicon. It's jokingly understood that you might be assassinated.
Yeah, in the comments, whenever there's people posting their inventions, oh, he's dead.
So what that means is this is control at gunpoint.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not even going to try and talk you into doing this. Do this or this will happen. You know, the men in the black suits will come and visit you if you invent something that takes away from the systems that feed on certain things. So this is, again, fear that the creativity and the intelligence of humanity may raise up and bring us to another level that doesn't support whatever we're doing. For instance, a good example would be telephone poles and lines. I have traveled all over the world, and all over the world, there are telephone lines and poles, and that is not the most intelligent, smartest, most evolved way in which people could communicate, but it was the most the most money-making way.
Lucrative.
Yeah, it was the most lucrative way, in the same way that there is energy available. There's energy available in the plasma that exists in the greater experience, the greater galactic experience we have, that has enough energy to have produced us. So there's energy there. And that energy could be harnessed, but who would be able to get the paycheck for it? You know,
no one.
So, right. That's why they call it free energy. So there's been this, you know, this idea of controlling and keeping people from naturally asserting the creativity. So we're made to be stupid from our food. We're made to be limited from our education. We're made to be misdirected through our religions, so that we don't think that we can do anything. And mostly we're in agreement. So when you ask the question, why does it happen? It happens because we have been cultivated to make it happen.
Mm.
You know, this is a plan. This is not what has happened to humanity is a plan. The idea of even those who have been in slavery, you know, this idea of you're not immediately a slave. It takes many generations to make a slave. So now we are, and I've talked about this before, we're on a prison planet, prisoners who have been made prisoner over many millennia, and we know what time we can go into the yard. We know what time our meal is pushed through the bars. We know, you know, so we know what we can do and what we can't do without getting in trouble with the warden. You know, so then we run our personal lives and our business lives from that same perspective of control and disrespect of the human, disrespect of the intelligence of an aspect of creation, disrespect of the planet that we live upon, disrespect of the life that has been put here to be shared with us. So that's what I see.
Yeah, there's a couple of different things. One, seeing how the people uphold it. You were using the example of the person who invents something, and you already have the mob saying, "Oh, you're gonna die." So the people are so it's paints such a clear picture of how we have been brainwashed or conditioned to not even have hope or shift or turn in a different direction. But also something earlier that I was seeing, and I thought it was fascinating, how control is inspired by fear, which needs to use fear in order to make invoke fear within the other. So it's like this, again, this matching resonance where I'm in fear, so I gotta control, and I gotta use fear to control, you know, to get you to do what I want you to do.
It's unsustainable, though. Yes, it's true, but fear is a parasite.
Yeah.
And so every parasite has its limitation. It devours its host, and now it's limited because it must find a new host. This is not a sustainable, even though it has been going on for many millennia. It's not sustainable
Yeah, but we can see
forever.
it's collapsing.
It is
We
collapsing
can see it
all around us.
deconstructing right in front of our eyes.
It is absolutely deconstructing in front of our eyes, and this idea that the secondary plan is convince us to control ourselves, convince us to hate each other through gender or sex or race or height or whatever income class. So once we start to self-regulate what the agenda of the fear is, then we all become enforcers. So everybody's walking around enforcing the idea that is whatever the current idea that the enforcers want enforced.
Just like back in 2020.
Yes, which is the control. So people are getting up and saying, that's right. Get rid of those people. They're not upholding the status quo. They're not doing what the rest of us are doing. They're not afraid enough. So get mad at them, make them afraid. You know, it's that kind of thing. Or so that's one of the other enforcement techniques, is make everybody the police.
I'm pleased this is deconstructing. So what are your thoughts on the idea of, we have spoken about this timeline split happening, and how the timeline split is indicative of choosing life, and then you have this path of anti-life. And I'm seeing where those who are choosing anti-life, it's within the realm of control, the very thing that's deconstructing, that's unsustainable. And but we still have people that are just holding on for dear life to the idea of control, whether it's again, lovers, parent-child relationships. There's a whole lot of that going on. I know you kind of want to cover some topics as it relates to that. And you spoke about recently the music industry and the gatekeepers.
It's really kind of interesting, this idea of what, and this is something we use in our work, what is the pain point? What is the thing that makes us hurt the most? Is it our relationship with the controlling lover, father, mother, sister, brother, business, boss? Where is the pain point? And then when the person has an option, you say, quit the job, leave the person. move out of your mother's house. They're like, oh, no, I can't do that. I
Fear.
can't let go of that. That you're making me cry now because, I love these people. I love this experience I'm having
Of suffering.
And it makes me identify that I'm alive. It makes me feel.
It makes me feel something.
Yes, it makes me feel something. And so we have this constant struggle. People come to us of the sun who have complicated situations that want resolution, and we can easily see resolution. But it always means the person who is the one who's been attacked or is the one who's suffering must change, must do something different. But to the person who's suffering, it always feels like it's not them, it's something outside of them attacking them, not understanding that they are creating the resonant experience of their own energy pattern, which is aggressing them to get them to grow.
I feel
Vibration. We are a universal remedy of support, an ally infused with positive frequencies and biophotonic light particles, intended to return one to the greater whole of one's organic nature. Within our layered structure exists an opportunity for metamorphosis, prompting divine healing energies of light to awaken your original composition, that which has been irritated by inorganic substances through mental, emotional, and physical material. We are navigators, those who operate by way of your conscious thought and directive, exponentially moving to the physical areas of stuck emotion within the body that are in need of restoration. When engaged with us, we identify and mirror the called upon frequencies of lower vibratory notion for it to see itself in transmutation, while awakening that which is dormant to shift into the rectification of optimum balance and functionality.
I feel as if one could say the same for both polarities of this situation, both the controller and the one being enslaved.
Well, ultimately, everyone's being controlled.
Yeah.
Ultimately, whether it's religion or work or family, it is still these unsustainable constructs. Like, don't be telling no secrets about the family. Don't be with somebody else. Don't go with those people. You're at a different level in your job. All these different concepts that are separating, that separate people, and all of these things that are limiting. And we buy into it like, yeah, I'm in level color orange. I'm in the orange color, and I live on the blue street where only the blue people live. So we have all of these things that separate us and give us false assurances. One of the ways that I first learned how to disseminate this for myself, and I teach to my clients, is this idea of finding joy. When I was first taught by my guidance how to find joy, I referenced things outside of myself. I referenced when I received applause, or when I looked good, or I referenced these moments where others exalted me. And my guidance was like, well, that's not joy. That's a circumstance. That's a circumstance where something happened. But without that circumstance, where is your joy? And I eventually cultivated and learned to find joy in living, in life itself, in being free and being sovereign. And so that's a different place. So this is where the answer is. The answer is you don't need to be controlled when you have your own source of joy. If you think the source of your joy is your lover or your family or your religion or even your God, whatever you think is the source of your joy, if it's outside of you, then you are subject to being controlled by that construct that you envision as that. It becomes the limitation. You know, I am no longer limited by thinking that my joy is external. And this is what we teach, you know, because the answer to being controlled is to not be susceptible to the bait or to the whatever the convenience is or whatever the payoff is.
Mm-hmm.
If the payoff is money, it's like, keep your money. You know, if the payoff is, I'm going to like you, I'm like, I already like myself enough for both of us. You know,
Yes.
It's not that I'm not in gratitude of it. It's just that it's not enough to control me.
Yeah. I think this is a radical idea in a world of control and manipulation where you speak of, I can cultivate from the inside out.
Yes.
I don't need what's outside because I got this, and you can't take what's in here. It's mine.
That's right. You
But I'm
cannot-
willing to share.
Yes, it's like we can share it, but I can't give you my word, but I can share my words with you because they still remain with me even if I share them with you. So that's how creation works.
Yes.
You know, I feel joy, and then those around me feel joy because I feel joy. That's how it works. I don't have to control you into my joy. I don't have to make you fearful to make you feel the joy.
So this makes me think about something that we speak to clients about, where those who have issues with control, they want, often people want peace. They want like a sense of control over their reality or to express some type of power, but go about it in the wrong way in terms of the mechanics of the universe. But when you speak of the idea of my joy is, and I'm paraphrasing, my joy is contagious.
Yes.
My joy has the power to influence.
Yes.
Not where I have to puppeteer this person to key with me. It just is.
Yes.
And I think that is an expression of power in a sense where, again, it's not exhausting for both parties, and it's also in respect for the free will.
Absolutely. We are not limited by the construct of what another thinks, nor are we limited to having just our own joy and it doesn't affect anyone else. It's a frequency. Frequency is contagious.
Yes.
All frequency is contagious. The idea that no one even thinks about looking inside for the joy. I didn't until my own guidance helped me look for it. I wasn't looking for the joy. I was like, you know, just moving along through the timeline, getting whatever moments, micro moments of joy.
Your guidance was like, LaOta, make left, make U-turn, return to self, approaching destination.
And it took a little bit of cultivation for me to find that space. Now, you know, it's so all I have to do is think joy, and I'm radiating joy, and I'm happy, and I'm laughing, and the whatever is happening is not limiting my joy.
So is this a reality for everyone? That
it could be. We are designed this way.
Well, we can just feel something free of the external, just all internal.
Well,
experience.
just think of it this way: when you're happy, everything's fine. The phone rings, and someone says to you something terrible. Can't you, at the drop of a hat, feel terrible?
Yeah. So it works both ways. Eh?
Yeah. So if can't you be jealous, like at the drop of a hat? Like, oh no, look at who she's talking to. I wanted to talk to him. Can't you, at the drop of a hat? So yes, we have the capacity. As human, we have a wide bandwidth of capacity for emotional experiences. We just haven't explored all of the higher end.
Damn, this sounds like real power, and definitely a solution for those who are looking for control, because that's control. Like that don't dictate what's going on in here.
I am
run
not.
this.
I am not limited by what someone else thinks.
Hmm.
They are.
All right. Keep your thought.
You limited by that thought. Not me. That's not my thought.
Yeah.
My thought is joyful. You can have some of it. It's available. I will share. You know, I'll just be that, and you can get all you want. You know, like,
I'm wondering, like, for people who listen to this and they're like, man, that sounds like that could be nice. Sounds like a good idea. You know, if only I could just let them keep their thoughts and I'm free. Because, you know, it's a struggle for humans. But
it's
do
like
you have any?
It's like anything else. We need to want it enough and be determined enough and be diligent enough that we create that reality. Everybody's got a vision board. They think they can get the yacht. Why can't they get the joy?
That's true.
You know, seems
Sure.
like to me, the joy is a little easier, a little quicker, a little bit more satisfying.
Yeah.
I mean, once you get the yacht, it's going to cost you $750,000 to drive it anywhere. So you don't ask for the yacht and the fuel.
That better be in the vision board. Little gas station, pier.
So everybody is in the know of all of this. People are constantly in the awareness of it, but they don't take it to the point, which is the point that you need to go to is inside of you. The point you need to go to is in you.
Yeah.
And that stops the control, even the sabotage, even the manipulation. I love the word, in the word manipulation is the word, let me pull you so I can eat you, or like pull and ate.
Oh, near.
Yeah, so
Rearrange the
manipulate.
words.
Let me pull you because you about to be dinner.
Mm.
You know, so all of these kind of things we explore, but do we explore the idea of the grace of being in your own space, in your own sanctity of who you are, in the joy of that moment? And yes, it may take some time.
You got a little recommendation for people who are like, you know what? I want to try something new. I'm tired of trying to control people because it's never worked for me. It's so stressful.
Yes, it is yes, I'll share with you what my guidance shares with me. I encourage you to be a warrior. Go to war with yourself first. Instead of fighting the people around you, instead of being angry that somebody manipulated you or someone did something, lied to you, or made you feel less than, go to war with you and talk to yourself. You do not have to be in agreement with the limitation of another's thought. You can say, no. You can at every thought, every day, make the choice to choose your life. Choose your life. And then in choosing your life, other lives may be saved. Go into meditation. Choose you. Find out what's inside of you. Find out if it's in harmony with what's outside of you.
I resonate with that. I think that was great. Card pull before we go.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull out the Call for Truth cards and ask Tarvars to pull a card for today's podcast. Do you have a question you're developing?
Yes, I'm harmonizing with the cards. And the question that I'm asking, as usual, pertaining to today's topic, I'm asking to see the truth as it relates to the idea of control.
This is our single card pull for today.
Ha! How funny. It's literally what you just said. The card theme is truth, and the maxim is declare war on the enemy within you. Conquer your own mind. Let your battle cry be truth and victory.
Yes, I wrote those cards.
You did. You did. It's in you. It's just who you are, inside and outside, huh? Look at that. Full circle.
Thank you, and we so appreciate you joining us. We hope we'll see you again soon. We greet you with In Lakesh and Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude to you all. Thank you.